Chris Scalzo here with
Matt Howell.
On this episode of The First Run, Matt and I are going to discuss Hell or High Water, the latest film from the writer Taylor Sheridan, who wrote Sicario. And it's a modern-day Western with what we'll talk about. And then we're going to discuss our straight-to-DVD marathon continues for as long as we can take it with Kindergarten Cop 2. We'll tell you what's coming up on Blu-ray and DVD, featuring our streaming and straight-to-DVD picks of the week. And then finally, it's the return of Call It, where Matt and I give each other just impossible scenarios, the Sophie's choice of movie picking. But Matt, let's go ahead and jump in and let's hear a clip from Hell or High Water.
You know, the bank loan, just enough to keep your mama poor. Thought they could swipe her land.
It's a big bank.
It's too big. That's what she said.
Now they can foreclose on Friday. So come hell or high water,
Get the money to the bank on Thursday.
and then you are free and clear.
Little brother, go get that money.
Good morning, folks. Open the drawers.
You got a gun on you, old man?
You damn right I got a gun on me. Y'all gonna steal my gun too?
We ain't stealing from you, we're stealing from the bank.
Woo!
You hear about these bank robberies? You may get to have some fun before they send you off to the rocking chair yet.
I may have one hunt left in me.
Is Mama in that been a while?
3 months.
Bank breathing down her neck.
Everybody get on the ground!
Y'all been here for a while?
Long enough to watch the bank getting robbed has been robbing me for 30 years.
How'd you manage to stay out of prison for a year?
It's been difficult.
Tell them to stand up!
These boys know exactly what they're doing. They're trying to raise a certain amount, that's my guess.
Let's go! Drive!
Toby, it's a good thing you're done.
More down it.
Every step of the way.
Matt, so why don't you share with everybody, what is Hell or High Water about? What's going on here in this film, and what's Captain Kirk doing in it?
It's a story of two brothers, played by Chris Pine and Ben Foster, whose mother passes away, and the bank is basically going to repossess their family home in a week's time, and they decide that they are going to save their farm and stick it to the man at the same time by robbing the very same banks that they owe the money to and pay them back with their own money. And Jeff Bridges plays, of course, the gruff Texas lawman who's after them, which you have to have in this type of movie.
You know, I know one thing I was concerned about when walking into this film is the Jeff Bridges role, because I feel like it's one of those things that's just it's a layup for him. You know, It's like, who do we want to play the tough but grizzled, ready to retire sheriff?
Yep.
You know, the first thing pops in your head is Jeff Bridges. So I was a little concerned about that. You know, this is a little independent film. It hasn't gotten a lot of press. Critically, it's a darling, right? Everybody loves it. It's got an insanely high score on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's hovering like around 96%.
Yeah.
So So okay, man. So it's got a great cast. So I got to tell you, I was a little nervous about Chris Pine as well, because I don't think I've really seen anything he's been in outside of the Star Trek films that I've been really impressed with. That I've been like, man, that guy's really good, you know? So then I realized I think I've only seen a couple things outside of the Star Trek films that he's been in. So I don't know if that's a fair thing to say. But either way, so it's a modern-day Western, critically reviewed, but I had my trepidations walking into this movie. But I don't know, Matt, what did you think? Does this thing deserve all the praise it's getting? Is Jeff Bridges, or am I more correct with my earlier assumptions that maybe, I don't know, this may be a little rote and it may not really play as well as I'd hoped?
I think keeping the streak alive. I think you're wrong, Chris, on this one. Or at least your initial assessments are wrong. I loved it. I thought, yes, I agree with you. Jeff Bridges it's kind of a layup for him. It's kind of the thing that he does. I mean, he's played a grizzled cowboy how many times? I bet if we were interested enough, we could go look it up on IMDb and probably get 4 or 5, grizzled cowboy roles that we can think of for him. But he's fantastic in it. And you know what? I was actually really impressed with Chris Pine. I thought he did an excellent job. I thought his rapport with Ben Foster as brothers was very believable.
All right. If I had any really one of the big qualms I had this film too is I did not buy the two of them as brothers.
You didn't?
I mean, well, okay. Relationship-wise and acting,
they don't look anything alike. Is that what you're saying?
Physicality, okay. There's no.
I'll give you that. They don't look anything alike. Although to be fair, me and my brother don't look really anything alike either. Okay, fine. They don't look physically, but as far as embodying the relationship, you know, the acting and the work that they do, I thought they did a pretty good job of kind of playing it up. And you know, this what I liked about the movie was that it's got, you know, these scenes of violence and tenseness and all that stuff, but it's also kind of funny. A lot of the dialogue is kind of like you get these little one-liners thrown in there that are kind of make you chuckle while you watch the film. So I found it extremely enjoyable. I thought, you know, you got the big expanses of Texas, and it reminded me a little bit of No Country for Old Men, which is, I think, while I mentioned that, I think that should have been on my list of 7 a week or two ago. And I did hear a review where somebody describes this as Coen Brothers Light, where I guess I can kind of see that, and I don't think it's necessarily a dig at it, but it definitely has that kind of No Country vibe to it.
It may have a No Country vibe to it, but I don't know if I would say it's got that Coen Brothers feel to it at all. I didn't get that. I didn't think of that once while I was watching this. Matt, for me, I think this is the best film I've seen this year.
Yeah, I agree.
It's fantastic, just like you said. And then, as I said, I was concerned about Jeff Bridges, excuse me.
Jeff Daniels.
I do that all the time. As I said, I was initially concerned about Bridges, but he is easily the best thing in this film. He just embodies, like you said, that grizzled old cowboy type sheriff. But here's the thing about this movie. It could go awry, I don't know, maybe half a dozen times, where it's a tale we've seen a dozen times before, right? But there's enough in it that keeps it feeling like it's brand new and kind of a fresh take on all this stuff for me. And the case in point for me is Bridges. Because he could have just kind of mailed it in, but he embodies this role with such soul and life that I just bought into every single thing he said. And I got to tell you, they did a great job. Dave McKenzie, the director, and I'm sure with the screenplay from Sheridan, they did a great job too of just messing with your expectations, right? I mean, you get Bridges, he's a couple days away from retirement, so you know typically something horrible is going to happen to that guy, right? When he's about to retire. But there's lots of different instances where they kind of mess with your expectations. But I think the key thing for this for me is the stakes. You know, the desperation in this film is palpable between Ben Foster and Pine. There's a real sense of stakes in this film that you don't typically, I don't think I've really seen lately, you know, and that's always for me the key. You have to really care about the story and the characters, and you get wrapped up in this story. The way that they reveal certain parts, things, the drip, right, of the backstory, why Ben Foster went to jail, and just all these little things that have occurred through these guys' lives that bring them to this moment and what they're willing to do or have to do, perhaps. I think it's just expertly handled. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It's beautifully shot, like you said, as well. And they do a great job of littering the gorgeous scenery with illustrating how desperate the times are, you know, not just for them, but for these towns. And it's just, I'm not sure. I don't know what to tell you, Matt. It's just, Ben Foster was great. I've always loved Foster and everything he shows up in. I don't know if he's just, is he underappreciated, Ben Foster?
I think so. I mean, he's I agree with you. Everything I've ever seen him in, I've always really enjoyed his performances. He probably doesn't get enough credit but he's feeling that kind of, I hate to say it. I mean, I guess he's becoming kind of like a go-to character actor at this point. I think that's what his career is going to be. He's going to be, you know, maybe not the leading man. He's not going to be your Ryan Gosling, but he's going to be like the solid support that you always like watching in the films.
Yeah, I could definitely see, I don't know, I could see an Oscar nomination for him some point in the future. Maybe not for this film, but I could definitely see something for him in the future. And then, as we said too before, aesthetically, these two don't look like brothers at all. No. But the interplay and the relationship between them, you believe it entirely. You know, there's that one scene where they're just screwing around on the farm, You know, it just totally felt authentic to me. And that's the big thing, right? There's authenticity and stakes throughout this whole thing, and I think that's why it's so successful. That's why it works. So, it's an exceptional drama, a great modern Western, and I have to say the best film I've seen this year. I've been struggling with Chris Pine, but for me, no problems here. I thought he was goodness, very, very good. If I had any real big problem with this film, man, I'm curious what you think about this. It's the final confrontation. It felt kind of anticlimactic to me.
Yeah.
It didn't have the heft that I expected it to. I mean, it was a nice scene, an interesting coda to the drama and the just despair and horribleness that unfolds 10 minutes prior to it. But it's not, I don't know. It just didn't have the same impact to me that the rest of the film did. I thought it was fine. But if I was underwhelmed at any point from this film, it would be that final conversation between Bridges and Pine. I don't know what you think about this. Did that same thing for you, or were you on board?
I guess it was. I was okay with it. I mean, I don't know if it was that, they had kind of lost steam after, to an extent. I think so, but I don't know. I think it was a kind of a nice. I don't want to say anticlimactic, but kind of a more realistic, these things kind of putter out, they kind of die with a whimper kind of thing. So it seemed to fit with the theme of the film. So I was okay with it.
I think that's fine. I think maybe it's just for me, it was a weakness in the screenplay. Everything seemed like it should have been perfect, but for some reason it didn't feel that way to me at the end. How they're going to leave it, how maybe we'll finish this conversation later type of a thing,
Right.
I don't know. I felt like I could have been like, damn, at the end of that scene. And I was like, that makes sense.
All right. You're like, no.
I don't know. Either way, like I said, it's a fantastic film. If it's still playing anywhere near you, go out and see it immediately. It's fun to see the old Western tropes kind of transplanted into present day. I got to tell you, man, some of the deaths in this film, though, were absolutely shocking. Like, I was like, what? And that's a testimony, though, as I said, to Mackenzie and Sheridan really developing the stakes of this film and making you buy in entirely. So you have to see this. I think. Well, I don't want to ruin a part of my segment at the end. So, but yeah, I'll just button up there. But for me, I'd say a film for me, no doubt, and go see it in the theater today. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. A film definitely right up there with the best films we've seen all year. I definitely think you should definitely go check it out. There's slim pickings this weekend. It's a long weekend. Go do yourself a favor and go check it out. I think you'll enjoy it.
Definitely. Good pick. All right. If you had a chance to see Hell or High Water, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Matt, let's transition over into the big releases on Blu-ray and DVD. Settle in. There's a bunch to get through here this week, but I'll try and get through it as quickly as possible. I know some people love this segment. Some people absolutely cannot stand it. So, as always, look into the notes of the show on the podcast, and we have a time tracker for you, so you can always just fast right forward. Money Monster, the latest film from Jodie Foster, starring George Clooney, and I am blanking now. Julia Roberts. He plays one of those. It's one of those Mad Money type shows. Clooney is,
right.
Where I guess this guy loses all of his money, and they take him hostage, and they try and find out some kind of big fraud thing happen. Whatever. It includes a Blu-ray ultraviolet past deleted scenes, featured on George Clooney and some other stuff. So that's coming out. Now You See Me Too, possibly one of the most unwarranted sequels in the history of cinema. I would say outside of this last week is The Mechanic Resurrection. I don't understand. All right, I know it's a bit of what The Mechanic remake with Statham was not a good film, and I don't even think it made that much money. Right. I don't understand. Who was calling for a sequel to that thing?
Well, I guess they couldn't do another Transporter. They couldn't do another Crank or whatever, but they wanted Statham to be in something. So they're like, what else is out there? And they're like, The Mechanic. Let's do it.
So anyway, Now You See Me Too. I didn't even see this one. I remember I thought the first one was fine, but it was really nothing to it. But I had no pull or drive to see a sequel. What about you? Do you have any interest in seeing Now You See Me Too?
No, I didn't actually even see the first one. It was just something that I had no interest in seeing. I heard it was okay, but
it's
I got.
If you get it from Best Buy, though, they have two different steel books, or maybe it's the two covers and front and back. I don't know, whatever. Target has an exclusive 30-minute bonus DVD that you can't get anywhere else. Includes commentary by the director. The Meddler, starring Susan Sarandon, Rose Byrne, and J.K. Simmons. So when a new iPhone, an apartment at the Grove, and a comfortable bank account left to her by her beloved late husband Marnie, played by Susan Sarandon, has happily relocated from Jersey to LA to be near her daughter Lori, Rose Byrne, a successful but still single screenwriter, and to smother her with motherly love. Listen, I love everybody. I love that whole cast. So maybe I'll check that out when it comes up on Netflix, which I'm sure it will soon. Includes another commentary with Sarandon and the director, and a gag reel. A film called The Darkness, starring Kevin Bacon, as he fully embraces the B movies. A family returns from a Grand Canyon vacation with a supernatural presence in tow. The Blu-ray digital copy, ultraviolet pass, All the Way, a film about the civil rights movement and discussions between LBJ and MLK. LBJ played by Bryan Cranston, and then MLK played by Anthony Mackie. Buddy Moon, a little independent film, Matt, about a guy who gets left. His fiance leaves him, so him and his, I think, Russian or maybe German best friend decided to go on their honeymoon together. That's getting released as well. The Flash Season 2 coming out on Blu-ray as well. Includes, if you get it from Best Buy, Matt, there's a really cool steelbook cover. I'm not a big steelbook guy, but I really like the Best Buy cover for the Season 2 of The Flash. New to Blu-ray, Night to Munich from Criterion is getting released. Includes a whole new restored high-definition digital transfer. Conversation from 2010 between the film scholars Peter Evans and Bruce Babington about the director Carol Reed. If you're not familiar with Carol Reed, he directed one of the greatest films in cinematic history, The Third Man. Gene Wilder. We'll have a little tribute to Gene Wilder at the end of the show this week. That's sad.
It is sad.
I think one of the greatest, I don't know how you feel about this, Matt, but I think easily one of the greatest comedic actors of all time.
They're releasing Blazing Saddles and Willy Wonka at AMC's this weekend.
I saw that. I was thinking about going if I could work it out. Yeah. Well, a film that I always liked when I saw it, I don't know if you've ever seen it. Have you seen Sherlock Holmes' Smarter Brother?
I have not seen that.
I saw it once, like decades ago, and I remember laughing my ass off. Possibly too because I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan, but I don't know, it's getting released on Blu-ray. I'd like to come back and check it out again. It includes an audio commentary with Gene Wilder, who wrote and directed it as well. And then they're also releasing Haunted Honeymoon this week. And this stuff was all planned ahead of time, so odd. But there you go. Did you ever see Haunted Honeymoon? I remember loving that one as a kid.
I think I do remember seeing it, but it didn't make much of an impression.
That's the one where he's a radio actor, but he starts stuttering all the time. So they set up they made this whole big practical joke type therapy thing where they bring him to this mansion and he gets they try and scare him to get rid of the stutters. They have a wolf man, they have Dracula, they have all this stuff. It ends up being a whole just thing to try and fix his head. I don't know.
I vaguely remember that. Again, it didn't make a huge impression, obviously.
Fair enough. Shout Factory is giving us Roadhouse.
What?
Includes a new 2K scan of the interpositive supervised and approved by the director of photography. Audio commentary by the director, as well as they're porting over that commentary by Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier from one of the prior Blu-ray releases. There's a whole bunch of new featurettes, though, including a making of featurette, Remembering Patrick, a conversation with the director, Pain Don't Hurt, the stunts of Roadhouse. So if you're a Roadhouse fan, Matt, I think this tends to be the big version that you've been waiting for.
What? I want you to be nice, Chris, until it's time not to be nice.
My favorite, I can't even say it because I don't want to slap the explicit rating on this show, but he tells him what he does to guys like him in prison in the big fight scene at the
Such a great, terrible movie.
It is a great one. All right, Matt. But I think for me, out of all the films coming out this week on Blu-ray and DVD, I think number one is probably this one, and that's Iron Giant, finally getting its Blu-ray release. You can get an Ultimate Edition for $75, which includes a letter from Brad Bird, 5 Mondo art cards, a beautiful 32-page book, a collectible Iron Giant figurine. Yeah.
I was just gonna say that's. I think we're big fans of that film. I think it's definitely an underappreciated children's film.
Yeah, and then the regular special features. If you want just a single disc, Matt, then you'll get the Giant Stream, an all new documentary about the making of the film. Includes both versions of the film, the signature edition and the original theatrical. Feature-length commentary by director Brad Bird and some other folks. Some deleted scenes, the original opening sequence, and a featurette that gives you a look inside the scoring of the film, the character design, storyboards, and animation. Like I said, this is possibly one of the greatest animated films of the past, 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen The Iron Giant, it is a must-buy. If you have, it's a blind buy. Trust me, just pick it up. It was on Amazon pre-order for like $8 too for the longest time. I never pulled the trigger. I'm hoping it's not too late to do that. But that man, I got to tell you, that special edition, I don't usually buy into this special edition stuff on things, but I'm thinking about it. I'm not going to pay $75, but if it hits the holidays run around or there's some excess stock of these and it drops down to $40, $50, I may pull the trigger.
All right.
All right, Matt. And then finally, your straight to DVD pick of the week. Remember Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme?
I do.
Well, they finally made a sequel. People have been begging for this for years, decades. I need a Hard Target sequel, Matt, but I don't want Jean-Claude Van Damme in it. And those people's prayers have finally been answered. Hard Target 2. Disgraced and retired mixed martial artist Wes the Jailer Baylor, played by Scott Adkins, not the Scott Adkins from 30 Rock, a very different person, but I feel like I would rather see that movie. Couldn't refuse the $1 million purse offered to fight in Myanmar. When he arrives to fight, Matt, he learns he's been tricked into becoming the target of a human hunt. Carrying only water and a ruby-filled money belt for the last person standing, Wes must outsmart the heavily armed group who's paid to kill him. As Wes fights for his life in the treacherous jungle terrain, hunters become the hunted. Hard Target is a must-see film for action and martial arts fans, featuring Scott Adkins, not the guy from 30 Rock. Incredible fight scenes.
You know, the only thing I remember about Hard Target is that Van Damme had the most magnificent permed mullet in that movie. That was
good.
It was a thing of beauty. It was a real thing of beauty.
I've never looked that good at anything. So yeah.
Oh, and what's interesting though that you're bringing this up. So I know we're doing our straight to DVD marathon here. You know, Van Damme, you know, he had some films. You know, they did the remake. They did like sequels to Universal Soldier that were like kind of straight video on demand and straight to DVD. And apparently
he came back for one of them though.
Yeah, he did. And apparently they're actually pretty decent movies from what I understand. I mean, they're not great, but
really, man.
Yeah, like literally, go out and look at like a lot of like the geek sites like Den of Geek, IO9. If you look at this stuff, they'll say these actually might be better than the original, which is not, you know, saying a whole lot, but I mean they're relatively entertaining films. But I bring this up because in addition, Jean-Claude is also making another sequel that's straight to video on demand. We're getting Bloodsport Vengeance, and from what I can tell, it kind of looks kind of awesome, and he's in it, and it's got Dave Bautista in it, aka Drax the Destroyer. So I think we might have to watch this.
You mean Jinx from Spectre?
Right. Right.
Yeah, from what I understand, Van Damme in that film is more the elder kind of trainer guy.
Yes.
He's the
he is. He's not the fighter, but you know, from what I understand, the tagline I read in the review, that's more fighting, more Van Damme, more awkward dancing, and I have to see the awkward dancing.
I had forgotten about that until you just mentioned it. Yeah, that's. If you haven't seen that not just Bloodsport, which is a reasonably good action.
It's an entertaining karate film.
There's that awkward scene where he's dancing in the bar. It's like if somebody said, "All right, I'm going to YouTube white guy dance."
Yeah.
Like that would be the first thing that would come up.
Yeah, you should definitely check that out, audience. If you have not, both of you should check it out if you haven't actually, if you haven't seen that.
Mom, I'll IM you the link. Yeah, no, that's Whew, that's a good one. All right, Matt. So I wanted to. Did you have a streaming pick of the week then? Because I had one too. But go ahead.
No, I do not. The only streaming thing I watched was our film that we're going to discuss.
Oh boy!
Yeah.
All right. For me, I watched recently, not in the last week, but a couple weeks ago, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy again, and I really enjoyed that film. It's a spy movie. It's a John le Carre based film, but it's a slow burn. But what's so great about it is the performances. Gary Oldman, Benedict Cumberbatch, Mark Strong. I think the cast you could talk about it for 10 minutes just naming everybody that's in this thing. It's a who's who of British actors: Tom Hardy, Colin Firth. So it's fantastic if you haven't seen it. But it's not a James Bond spy movie. Just keep that in mind. But it's great. And another thing too that I just finished up 2 days ago, Matt.
What's that?
I rewatched Breaking Bad again.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's so good.
It doesn't be rewatched.
I think that's one of those things where I'll just every 5 years or so maybe I'll just rewatch it again from scratch because it's that good. And it's the show too that I remember I didn't watch it. I didn't have cable for a while either, and you had to pay extra, on iTunes for the shows, and it wasn't in my budget at the time. So when they finally started hitting Netflix, I was like, everybody said, Chris, you got to watch it. It's the greatest show ever. You have to watch it. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. It's the best show ever. Right. Okay, fine. And I watched it, and it is. It is the best show ever. So if you haven't seen Breaking Bad yet, and then the sequel prequel thing, Better Call Saul, which I think is the best show on television right now as well. So, yeah, there you go, Matt. All right. Let's go ahead and take a break, and let's listen. Let's listen to a clip from Kindergarten Cop 2, and I'm going to huddle in the corner and just rock back and forth a little bit. Be right back.
All right, everybody, snack time. I brought a special treat for you guys, because today is my first day. And, Cowboy, look, no peanuts. I checked. Who wants some chocolate chunk cookies?
Do they have 78% cacao?
No, this is real chocolate. Milk chocolate.
With processed white sugar?
Who cares? It's chocolate. Okay, guys, you're in for an awesome surprise. Come on. Wow, good to eat some real chocolate once in a while, huh?
Talking about sequels, Matt, that people have been dying for, that we had to wait decades to get. Kindergarten Cop is a entertaining film directed by Ivan Reitman, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he plays an FBI agent that has to go undercover to figure out which one of these kids is the kid of a mobster. And it has some of the most classic quotable Schwarzenegger lines ever. Who is your daddy and what does he do?
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor, which is probably the most famous one. Thanks for the tip. When he talks about your boys have penises, girls have vaginas. It's just, and I think it was the first time he was inserted into a comedy. Was Kindergarten Cop his first comedy? I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, was it before Last Action Hero?
It was 1990.
Okay.
And let's see if we can pull up his discography and really just drag this out. Let's just say yes. Just move on.
Okay.
Let's just say yes, because there's more important things to talk about here. So this time we have Dolph Lundgren, looking pretty good for a guy I think he's almost 60 at this point, if not older.
Right.
And he plays a federal agent who's got to go undercover to find a missing flash drive, which contains all the data from the Federal Witness Protection Program, and he's got to get to it before some. I'm thinking, are Russian? Are they Russian?
Yeah, they're Russian.
Bad guys. I don't know if they were Serbs or whatever. So, or Ukrainian. So, some Russian guys to get their hands on it and then find this one person who's in witness protection who's going to testify against the bad guy. All right, Matt. I feel like we've already given this film too much time.
We really have. We've really gotten deep into it.
I feel like this is written by a guy who thinks he's funny but is not. That's kind of the vibe I got throughout this whole thing.
Right.
This film is DOA.
Yes.
The script is atrocious. It's got a bunch of jokes that just do not work. And what they do is they just recycle a bunch of the stuff from the first Kindergarten Cop, and this time they've somehow sucked all the life out of it. All the joy that was in the Kindergarten Cop is gone in this film. Instead, we're giving just this generic straight to DVD comedy thing, and I guess I don't know. Are we supposed to grade on a curve on these for the straight to DVD pick? I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I mean, I will say this. I mean, Zoomies was terrible, but at least it was enjoyably terrible. This is just terrible.
One of my notes, Matt, is I weep for the subtlety of Zombies.
I love these pretentious little notes you write. What was it? Every gesture is an earthquake.
Every gesture is an earthquake, James Dean. Yeah, let's keep bringing that up. So,
but yeah, Dolph Lundgren. His every gesture is not an earthquake. That is the most wooden man I've ever seen in my entire life.
I was wondering if there was just something wrong with him, like physically.
There could be. I mean,
really move. When he moves, his actions and stuff are very kind of stilted and almost like a John McCain-esque, where he can't raise his arms too far or something. And Like there's this really painful scene where he's at a country line dancing country bar, and everybody goes, "You want to know how I get my exercise?" And he's going there. I'm like, "You're not even breaking a sweat. You're just kind of moving like a quarter inch, moving your arms, moving a quarter inch back."
To be fair, that is country line dancing.
I just can't get over how incessantly stupid this film is too.
Yeah.
There's no logic. Nobody makes a logical decision in this movie whatsoever. Like when the Russian guys go to intimidate him in public when he's got his coffee at the coffee truck or whatever it is, they kind of surround him, even though there's people and kids everywhere, and he starts threatening them. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna kill a Fed right in the middle? I don't know. It's just an incessantly dumb movie. The whole thing is so generic for me. I wrote Matt it's like the RC Cola of cinema. It takes all the stuff that you expect and then just waters it down and takes away all the carbonation, and now you just have a flat film.
Yeah, that's about right.
And what was going on with the lieutenant captain character, whatever that was? He makes some really weird kind of like the way he attacks Lundgren's character. When I say attack, like he's the typical like you're out of control, Riggs type of cop thing, right? But it's like on the border of being just bizarre, almost like he's obsessed with him. Like I feel like if we went to that lieutenant captain, whatever he is, his home, he'd have a mural wall of Dolph Lundgren pictures all over the place. Like he's like weirdly obsessed with him. And he does this other odd thing too when he chews gum right before he's going to yell at you. He takes a gum out of his mouth and puts it behind his ear.
Right.
I don't know what that decision was about. If that's supposed to add some depth to his character, I don't.
I mean, he was basically the cliched yelly police captain that every one of these films has.
But there was a weird thing to it, Matt. It went past that to me. That was just odd. That I can't wrap my head around it.
But I mean, his acting choices were odd. The character dialogue was odd for him. But that's true of every character in this friggin' movie. I mean, I don't know what anybody was doing, and honestly, I don't know what the name of the actress who was playing the young, love interest who was 40 years younger than Dolph Lundgren. But
it's like, hey, I know you're old enough to be my grandfather, but can we get on?
Yeah, seriously. Like that wrinkly old stiff old man stuff and the smell of Bengay. Yeah, I mean, I felt bad for her because she was trying. I mean, she wasn't necessarily good in it, but she was making an attempt, whereas everybody else, like I laughed when Bill Bellamy came in. I was like, dude, Bill Bellamy, that's a blast from the 90s MTV past right there. This is atrocious. This gets a big F. This is terrible in every single way.
So here's another couple of things too that I just shaking my head at. So there's a point where Bellamy's trailing the mobster guy in a big gray unmarked van, and then he's shocked that they find him. And what do? They just steal his van, and he's got to call an Uber. And then there's this weirdly odd scene where Dolph, his character, gets put up for a charity auction.
Yeah. And
they do nothing with it. They do absolutely all it is a way to shoe in some homosexual jokes, and then further push the romantic plot between him and the teacher.
Yeah,
it's just incessantly stupid. It is the dumbest film I've seen. The direction is lazy. The script is horrible. I like too that I think his classroom is in the lobby of a library. I think that's what that is. It's a lobby. If you look at the setting of it, it's not a classroom. It's a lobby.
Yeah, it's a cavernous space. It's huge.
And then there's this weird. There's this also in the beginning that there's in the beginning of the film where Lundgren is first introduced to all these kids. There's this odd kind of right-wing anti-PC thing that runs for about 10 minutes about how dumb liberals are and how all this. It's and then it just drops it and we never revisit that again too. And just a lot of odd decisions and odd things in this film. I'm not saying it was bad or good in regards that they attacked it. It was just oddly done and then never brought up again. And this film does that over and over again, where it introduces things that it just has no tie-in to the rest of the film. And then the big climax at the end, when the kids reenact the Trojan horse thing and attack the mobsters to save Lundgren, which I don't know if we're supposed to believe that he planned that or not. I don't.
Right.
It's,
putting 6-year-olds in danger because you just assume that the mobster who's up to kill everybody is not going to shoot a bunch of kids in the face. So.
Oh God, it's just horrible. Absolutely.
It was.
There's no listen, folks. There's no redeeming enjoyment in this. If this was a bad movie, but it was entertainingly bad, I would tell you and say watch it. But this is just painful. Okay, I feel like if I had kids, and this is one of the reasons why I'm glad I don't, and then I'd have to watch this film, and I'd be terrified that my kid would love this movie and would be on like a loop for like a month. It's atrocious. Do not watch it. Do not watch it. I know it's on Netflix. You can check it basically for free. Do not watch it.
Yeah, dude, this is of the two that we've watched. Go watch Zombies because that has zombie giraffes and like a really weird cut between a guy in a gorilla suit and like a really terrible CGI gorilla. So I mean that has stuff that's at least kind of funny to watch. This is just like I was hating life throughout the whole thing, and I was cursing the fact that we picked Kindergarten Cop 2 while we were watching this.
And Zombies has that glorious shot of them riding the elephants that is just
it's bad.
It's Scorsese. It's fantastic. But yeah, no, it's horrible. It's Kindergarten Cop 2 is it's the worst film I've seen at least in the last year, the 2 years, if not since we've been doing this show.
That's saying something.
It's horrible. So if you've seen Kindergarten Cop 2, why? Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt. Okay, let's clean our palates. Let's do a clip here and let's get into Call It. And I'm gonna call my therapist. We'll be back.
I'm talking about Frank. I'm talking about character. I'm talking about. Hell, Leo, I ain't embarrassed to use the word. I'm talking about ethics. Whereas Bernie Birnbaum is a horse of a different color, ethics-wise. As in, he ain't got any.
So you want to kill him? For starters. Sorry, Casper. Bernie pays for protection.
You think that I'm some guinea fresh off the boat and you can kick me? But I'm too big for that now. I'm sick of taking a strap from you, Leo. I'm sick of marching into this goddamn office to kiss your Irish ass. And I'm sick of the high hat.
Matt, this is Call It. So this is what happens. Matt and I are going to present some really difficult choices to each other, and one's got to go away and the other gets to stay. Though we bend the rules a little bit as we go. Now, I have a few here, so I'll go ahead and start things off because I don't know if you're aware, but we lost somebody else the other day too. John Polito, who's been in a bunch of Coen Brothers films and a bunch of TV shows as well. He think in the first season of Homicide. Let's put it this way: Google his name, you'll look at the picture and go, "Oh yeah, I know that guy. He's one of those guys." So he's passed away. So I wanted to do my first call as a little tribute to him, Matt. John Polito. What is a better film that he was in? Miller's Crossing or Barton Fink? Call it.
The film that he was better in, or the film that I enjoy more?
Whichever way you want to answer it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Miller's Crossing. I mean, Barton Fink's good, but Miller's Crossing is one of the Coen's, opuses. It's a fantastic film. So I'm going to go.
He's in Lebowski, but I didn't want to include that. Though some people think Lebowski's a shite film.
It's a shite film. It's not like The Lady Killers.
I'd have to agree with you. I think Miller's Crossing is a better film. I enjoy Barton Fink, but Miller's Crossing is another level for me. So, all right, I think that was kind of a layup. But I wanted to give a little Polito a little shout out. So.
Okay. All right.
What do you got?
All right. So, since this is a movie show and we can't not talk about either massive sci-fi franchises or comic book films at least once during the show.
Sure.
All right, so we got Rogue One coming out in December. So, and then of course they've got some standalone films, the Han Solo possibly trilogy of young Han Solo, and then we obviously the next few years we'll get Episode 8, and Episode 9. So my question to you is this, Chris:
Mm-hmm.
The Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is a hypothetical scenario. So you have to choose one. They say, Chris, you're our guy. Tell us which way we should go. No more stories of the original trilogy. So no more, 10, 11, 12. And all we get is side stories and independent things in the Star Wars universe. Or we get rid of that and we only do sequels to the main storyline.
I just want sequels to the main storyline. A lot of this stuff is ancillary, and I think there's a very good chance it could be horrible.
Yeah.
Now it depends. I guess it would be interesting if you'd be more adventurous with the side films, right? So supposedly the original cut of Rogue One is very dark and violent, like a war film, like a Saving Private Ryan-esque war film. But then they brought it back for reshoots because Disney's like, whoa, no. We got money to make here. Yeah. So if you could give me like that, if you could give me like a horror film in the Star Wars universe, if you could give me, I would be interested in that actually. But would I sacrifice a continuation of any of the story of Rey and Finn and Kylo? I don't know if I'd be willing to do that. So I don't. That's tough. Well, but you know what? No, it's not tough because I'm not going to get the other option. Right. So then it's the core series for me.
You're gonna stick with the core series. Yeah. See, and maybe I guess I'm with you in the sense that if they were gonna finish out episodes 8 and 9, and if that was where they stopped, I would be okay with them never extending that storyline again and just doing kind of side films. But I have to see what happens. So if it's like, okay, we're stopping at Force Awakens, we're not doing any of these other ones, forget it. We fired Mark Hamill and put him back in his box. I would have to say that we have to keep the main storyline.
Okay, interesting.
But to be fair, I am very excited for Rogue One because it's the first one we've had where it's not tied really to any of the main characters. None of that. There's no Skywalkers. There's no Han Solo. So I'm very interested to see if that. And I hope that this thing works. But I'm very interested to see it.
That's my question for you, Matt. Give me call it Star Wars Rogue One's Rotten Tomatoes score.
I'm gonna say 82%.
That's solid. That's a good number.
Yeah, I think it's. Is it close to your number? Yeah. I think I think just by the fact that it's something different, I think, or as different as any Star Wars film can be, just by the fact that just what I've seen, it just what it looks like and what the storytelling is going to be is going to be very different. So I'm hopeful that it's gonna get a little bit more interest in these kind of side story things.
I get a feeling that there's going to be a bit of a backlash against this one.
You think so?
I don't know why. I think some people are so trained for a very specific Star Wars style story that this one still will be different, and it's going to throw some people off. Like the whole Marvel versus DC thing, right? Where they've basically created the mold now for superhero films, and if that mold isn't matched, then there's going to be problems with it. Not to say that the DC films don't have their flaws. They certainly do.
Right.
But they're not 20% RT score films. But I think that maybe the mold has been set for Star Wars, and that this is going to be different, and some people are not going to adapt to that well. So I'm going to go 73%.
Okay.
I want to say 68, but I don't have the balls. I don't have the balls to do it. I'm going to say 73.
Just stand by the strength of your convictions, Chris.
That's not who I am.
All right, so this is a two-parter, okay? Mm-hmm. This is tough. This is actually a literal Sophie's choice, okay? I'm going to give you two actors. You pick one. The other, he never existed, gone.
Oh, we've never done actors before. Ooh, I'm nervous.
Blinked out of an eye, okay? So we've seen two films that I think we both really liked this year that starred two older actors that did really good performances. So pick Jeff Bridges or Patrick Stewart.
I gotta go Bridges.
Really? You're gonna get rid of Captain Picard?
You're talking to the wrong guy. I'm not a next generationer. I'm not. Yeah. I think I've maybe seen 24 episodes of that show max. So no, for me, it's though I loved Stewart and Green Room. There's not enough of a large enough cinematic over for me to lose No Country for Old Men. To lose.
He wasn't in No Country for
Oh
Old
no,
Men.
wait, what am I thinking of? Lebowski.
Really, that's the key. I was looking at his discography. I'm like, okay, Starman. Okay, you know, Tron Legacy. I'm like, but God, Lebowski, we need it.
Yeah.
So, all right. So here's the second part, and I think this is going to be a very easy decision. Okay.
All right.
You
easy. Well, that was
Jeff,
pretty easy for me. But okay.
Well, this is going to be way easier. Jeff Bridges or Kirk Douglas. Okay, so think about this. Know the Thing. No Big Trouble in Little China. No.
Oh. Jeff Bridges or Kirk Douglas.
Kirk Douglas, yeah. Am I making some embarrassing mistake right now? Probably.
Kirk Douglas. I'm going the Paths of Glory, Spartacus.
No, Kurt Douglas. Or Kurt Russell, excuse me. God.
Okay, so Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense to me. Because I say, like, I love Paths of Glory, so. But okay, Kurt Russell or Jeff Bridges. Ooh, I can't lose a thing. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I lose Lebowski though.
You do lose Lebowski.
But I can't lose a thing. Can't do it. Good God, I wonder who you could throw in there. Who you could match up against Russell and what I would do. I don't want to think about it. All right, what are your answers?
I would probably stick with Stewart because I'm a huge Star Trek fan. You know, I mean, I lose Lebowski, but that's really, I think, the only thing I would really be sad if we lost it out of his acting over. But you throw him up against Kurt Russell, and I'd have to go with Kurt Russell. I can't. The Thing. I'm a big fan of Death Proof. I know a lot of people thought it was lesser Tarantino, but I think it's a lot of fun.
He's the best thing about that film, though.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, so I think we would lose a national treasure if we lost Kurt Russell.
Or Kirk Douglas, for that matter.
Christ, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I was pretty sure of myself, too.
All right, man. Let's see. Oh, good times. All right,
good times.
Let me ask you, Keanu just turned 52 this week. Did you know that?
Are we sure he's not like a vampire or something? He never really seems to age.
He does not. It's impressive. So, Matt, to call it, what is Keanu's best film not named The Matrix?
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to cheat a little bit here. So let me pull up his IMDb page.
I'll give you some highlights as you're looking it up. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Okay.
Point Break. Private Idaho. Dracula. Speed. I'm skipping over a lot of stuff here. Devil's Advocate, which I probably should have skipped over.
The Neon Demon. The Neon Demon.
I don't count that as a Kurt Russell. Here we go.
John Wick.
47 Ronin. Knock knock. You going John Wick? That's your call?
Well, let's see. So
not even Speed? Come on, man.
But I haven't watched Speed in a long time.
Quiz.
Pop quiz, hot shot. Yeah, I haven't seen Speed in a really long time, and I don't know. I have a feeling that if I watched it today, it would not hold up as well. But I remember really liking it when I saw it. I mean, just like everybody else in the world. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I guess if I had to come down to, it'd either be Point Break, Bill and Ted, John Wick. My Own Private Idaho is good, but I don't necessarily want to watch it all the time. I guess. It's got to be Constantine.
Stop.
No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Yeah, I would probably go.
Still my favorite portrayal of Satan, I think, in any film that I can think of off the top of my head.
Oh, Devil's Advocate?
No, in Constantine.
Oh, in Constantine. Oh, yeah. I forget that guy's name, but yeah, he was excellent in that. Yeah, I guess you know what? I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna go with Bill and Ted's. I'm struggling here with Point Break too, but I think I'm gonna go with Bill and Ted's. Because I remembered I have a soft spot from being 10 years old and watching that film.
You know, I have never seen Point Break.
You never have.
I never have.
You've never seen Keanu get real mad and shoot up his gun in the sky like this?
I've never seen Johnny Utah in the flesh, though. No, I have not. I'm gonna go though. For me, I'm gonna go John Wick. Out of all this stuff, the one that I'd probably rewatch the most is gonna be Wick, which is interesting from that's only a couple years old. But
yeah, I mean, it's basically The Matrix without bullet time. Is basically what it is. But it's
so relentless, though, and it just yeah.
It's good stuff.
All right,
that's good pick. All right, so this is my last one. All right, so Chris, we're a movie podcast, right? I don't know if you've noticed this, people who listen to this all the time, but we talk about film. And I have obviously a series of responsibilities: children, home, work.
Whatever.
You know, and it makes movie going to me kind of a hassle. Now, I enjoy the theater experience when I get there, but it can be difficult to kind of make things juggle. So this is my question to you, Chris. We're going to a complete format change. Movie theaters are gone completely, and everything either comes out in physical media or video on demand, and you can stream it straight into your house, or the movie theaters stay, but then you can't have any of the home entertainment anymore.
Jesus.
Hey, this is Call It. You said it was a Sophie's choice.
Good God, man. I love the cinematic experience, but to not be able to watch something again after it's been in the theaters, I don't know if I could handle that.
You'd have to just do like return engagements like they used to do back in the 50s and 60s.
Oh, good. Like so if I want to watch The Big Sleep, I got to wait 40 years or some type of anniversary?
Yeah.
I'd have to go home. I have to. Because I could always then just get a second or third job and build my own home theater.
True. You could just go buy yourself some 80-inch 4K TV and
and this is day and day, right? So instead of things
it is.
Go out to the theaters anymore,
right. The theaters don't exist. They're gone. Poof.
All right. Yeah, that's what I would do. I'd go home. That's sad. But you know what? There's more control as well. I don't have to worry about seeing a 10 o'clock show of a horror film and having an 3 seats over from me.
Right.
So I don't have to worry about people putting their feet up on the seat behind me. Do not do that, people. You are not home. You are not at your home. Do not put your feet up on the seats, especially if you don't have any shoes on, ladies.
Right. Oh, gross.
Come on.
This is why I sit in the back row, because I don't want anybody sitting behind me.
I don't want to do that because I'm too far away. I got to get right in the center, right in the center rows, in the center of the theater, right in the middle of the row at the center of the theater to get the best impact there, because I want that full surround sound. And no, I'm not a foot fetish guy. All right, people, I don't want your feet next to me.
Sorry, that's my fault. I may have sent that out on social media and telling people where you are.
I hate when people put their feet up. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And you also get the added bonus of, you want to drink a beer, you can drink a beer, or if you got to go to the bathroom, you can pause it, all that kind of stuff.
And I don't have to pay $10 for a popcorn or $8 for a beer at the theater or something that they have. They're remodeling one of the theaters around me, and they're putting in the luxury seats. I'm very excited for that.
Okay. I
don't know how much that's going to cost me, but I'm excited to check it out.
Is it the AMC's?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they did that in the one in Plainville, and they're actually really nice. They're these big recliner things that you can just push the button and it leans back. So even if you're forced to be in the front row, it leans back so you can see the film. You can completely recline. It's kind of awesome.
That is great. I can't wait for that. All right, what's your answer?
Yeah, definitely. Without a doubt, I would. If it was day and day, give me home 100% of the time. I could totally stand not to have to go to the theater.
Are you behind that push then for some people? Isn't there like a movement in Hollywood?
There is. I mean, and it's not cheap though. I mean, they're talking about
$20 or something like that.
Yeah, like $20, something like that. But I guess at the end of the day, I mean, even if you go during the day or a matinee, it's still going to be close to $10. And then after you spend on popcorn and all that crap, it's going to be about the same amount of money. So I would still probably do it.
I don't want that to happen because I think at that point, your question becomes true, becomes life. The theater chains will then go out of business probably in 5 to 10 years. I just don't think there are enough people like me who prefer to see a film in the theater.
Right.
I think it would be a niche thing. It'd be a boutique thing. You'd have like little art house theaters maybe, which would be cool. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I just don't know if there'd be enough blockbuster films because I think people would still go out to see like Star Wars in the theater.
Right.
I think that would happen. But I don't know if there'd be enough of that or the theaters would have to the theaters would have to get a bigger cut of the proceeds.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how that would work. But
well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I would be happy even if it wasn't day and day, like even something like if it was like, you know, Hell and High Water, you know, it's out for like a week or two, and then you can watch it video on demand. It's still in the theater, but you can watch it video and I would be willing to pay more to do that. Or even if it was something like, you know, Civil War, like if they wanted to wait, like, I don't know, 3 weeks or something, and then put it on video on demand, and you got to pay $25 to see it, I would do that.
Well, we're almost there now, Matt. Civil War is on digital right this past week. The thing came out, what, 2 months ago? I mean, it's not even that. And then there's stuff like Imperium, which is not played around here, which I'm desperate to see. That's on iTunes right now to rent.
Okay.
But that's a Daniel Radcliffe undercover white supremacist film. Right. So that's on there right now. I mean, all the independent stuff, you know, it's a lot of it's showing up right now for a co-release, if you will. I think that is that is the future. I think, and the independent films are already doing it. So I don't know. All right, interesting. All right, Matt. I saw this on Reddit and I thought it was interesting, so I'm stealing the idea.
Okay.
Sam Jackson and Tom Hanks. Swap them into the other films. Which film would you most want to see? So you have a Tom Hanks movie. Now that role is played by Sam Jackson in reverse. So give me one for each. Call it. Which film do you want to see for their respective roles?
Okay. All right. So for Tom Hanks as Samuel L. Jackson, I got to go with Pulp Fiction. I would love to see him. I would love to see him play Jules. I think that would be hilarious. Although there are quite a few other ones that I would like. There's Tarantino films I'd like to plug him into. I think it could be very interesting to see the Hateful Eight kind of thing. But yeah, it's got to be Jules. It's got to be Jules.
I think so. I agree. I think the Hateful Eight would be interesting to see. Part of me would be curious about see Tom Hanks as Nick Fury. But yeah, I think that I think I have to go. Eventually, it would come down to Pulp Fiction. Though Hateful Eight was a very strong contender for me.
Yeah.
And then for me, the reverse is so disturbingly obvious. I don't even know what to do with it. What would the reverse be? What Tom Hanks role do you want Sam Jackson to play?
What? So disturbingly obvious. I'm trying to think.
For me, it is.
I don't know. It's a toss-up for me, either between Castaway or Big.
Mine would be Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, that'd be good. But I mean, that seems to be within Sam Jackson's wheelhouse. Like, I mean, that seems like something that he could.
That's true. It wouldn't be that much of a.
It wouldn't be that much of a change. But yeah, I mean, Sam Jackson ranting to a beach ball, that could be a fun time. Or Sam Jackson pretending to be a kid would also be a fun time as well. So
you know what? Those are both great picks. That's a fair point. I haven't even thought about it that way. Forrest Gump might be interesting as well.
That would be a good one too. That would be excellent. Yeah, it's got to be one of those three. Now that you say that, I'm going to change it. I'm saying the Forrest Gump. Definitely Forrest Gump.
I still want to see Saving Private Ryan, but I think you're right. That's the easiest one where I don't think it would be that odd a difference.
Yeah.
Forrest Gump would probably be the most entertaining.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be fantastic. God, can you just imagine Sam Jackson being like, Jen A? I love you, Jen A.
All right. So finally, Matt, I still have one more. I always try and give you a really tough one, and this is in honor of Gene Wilder.
Okay.
Call it, Matt. Young Frankenstein or Blazing Saddles?
I'm gonna have to go with Blazing Saddles, and my reasoning is I saw both those films when I was a kid, and of course I thought Blazing Saddles, with all of its scatological humor, even though a lot of it's kind of social commentary may have gone over my head with the fart jokes, I thought it was absolutely hilarious. So whereas with Young Frankenstein, it was a little over my head for somebody who was like 8 or 9 years old when I was watching that. I didn't think it was that funny, so it kind of always has held that reputation for me. So yeah, I would definitely go with Blazing Saddles.
I have to agree. I think Blazing Saddles is the one you hold on to as well. I think they're both classic films.
Yeah.
But I think Blazing Saddles is the better film, and it's slightly more funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't really have to think too long on that one as well. It's too bad, though. Young Frankenstein is really, really good. That's too bad. All right. Next week, Matt, I don't know what's coming up for the straight DVD pick of the week. I can't remember. I don't have my list around.
It's the Richard Grieco one. Something like.
Oh, that's right.
Like dark, something. I don't know. Something like that.
I think it's called After Dark, and then the Netflix version is called Naked After Dark.
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
Oh, that's good. That's right. I'm already anticipating that thing's going to be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can just see Jen be be walking in the door and be like, "What are you watching?" Some naked, softcore starlet on the and Richard Grieco. Checking it out.
The marathon may end abruptly next week. I just may say I can't take any more. And then Matt, I've already seen it. I don't know if you're gonna have a chance to. Don't Breathe. What is horror from Fede Alvarez, who did the remake, or is it a remake of Evil Dead, which is not bad.
Yeah.
It's actually, and I think if I hadn't seen and been in love with the original series, I would have probably liked it even more than I did.
Right.
So that's going to come up next week, Matt. All right, are you ready for your question?
I'm ready.
You get to choose now. You only have 2 left here.
Okay.
Comedy/cartoon or drama/musical?
All right, I guess I'll have to go with comedy/cartoon.
Matt, what is the name of Dr. Evil's cat in Austin Powers? Is it Miss Foxworth, Mr. Bigglesworth, or Mr. Brightwell?
It's Mr. Bigglesworth.
I don't even think you had that. You wouldn't even need that.
I would not. I didn't even need the choices for that. No, yeah, right.
That was stupid.
The problem is we're just too full of useless movie trivia. This game cannot stop us.
All right, that's going to be the big show for this week. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Just do a search for The First Run. We'll come right up. Don't forget to check us out at thefirstrun.com. That's a big show for this week, Matt. Let's take an extended break, and we'll see you all soon.
Bye, guys.
Dr. Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
You're putting me on.
No, it's pronounced Frankenstein.
Do you also say Froderick?
No, Frederick.
Well, why isn't it Froderick Frankenstein?
It isn't. It's Frederick Frankenstein.
I see.
You must be Igor.
No, it's pronounced Igor.
But they told me it was Igor.
Well, they were wrong then, weren't they?